I've known Milton for actually longer than we probably want to admit, but one of the things every time I hear him speak, and I remember the first time I heard him speak, was that the sign of a good, I think, mentor and teacher was that he always inspires me to think out of the box. Like, he really does this check and balance in my head where I start to think, you know, everything is going along, and then he inspires me to think about things differently. So that I really appreciate listening to him speak and his ideas. But I also really hate following him because he's so good at it. So I will do my best today to talk a little bit about what Mozilla does. And so one of the things that Milton wanted me to do is give you a sense of what Mozilla does, but also some of the tools that we can share with you as well. So what is Mozilla? Let's see if I can. So Mozilla, how many of you know that Mozilla is a nonprofit organization? About a third of the room. Yeah, we realize that most people think tech companies are for-profits. We are a nonprofit public charity, and the only one like us is Wikipedia. So our overall mission is really to build a safe, open, and innovative web that empowers individuals. We're all very focused on empowering the individuals. And what we do is we build tools and resources that are open source and free. And some people have an issue with that, but that is the way the world is right now. And so we are figuring out how to engage people in that process. So I'm sure many of you know that Firefox is what Mozilla is known for. The way they built Firefox was through mostly volunteers. So if you can imagine the power of embracing individuals all over the world to build Firefox, Firefox is what it is because of everybody. Now, our overall vision for Mozilla is to create a web literate movement. Our idea is that the world needs to be web literate, and that web literacy is the fourth R next to reading, writing, and math. You probably ask, where's that fourth R? It doesn't really matter. We just know that we have to have those skills to be able to succeed in the world today, and that is our primary mission. So one of the things that we do to support this is we have been working on what we call our web literacy map. These are skills and characteristics that we think every person should have in order to navigate the web. So there are 3 different strands that we've come up with: exploring, building, connecting. If you go onto the website and look at this, you'll be able to see something like this. So we take navigation, for example. We are starting to build out the skills that go behind each one of these to give people a real sense of what it means to navigate on the web and to teach. And so we also build the resources to teach people how to do this. And so a lot of these resources are on our website, and we build teaching kits, and we do MOOCs, and this is all free. And we build them with the communities we're working with as well. One of the ways that we are engaging people in creating this web literate world is what we call the Maker Party. And so we launched the Maker Party in the summer, and it actually just ended last week, and we had over 4,000 different events all over the world around this. We're still counting the number of people, but every year it becomes. So literally there are people doing maker parties, and a maker party can be as simple as making and doing something both digital and analog and combining the two. It can be at a library, a museum, it can be at your kitchen table as well. And so we've built the tools on here where people can have their own maker parties. Milton mentioned the Maker Fair. That the first person you watched the video on, there's one of the larger maker fairs is actually happening this weekend in New York. There's usually one in San Francisco and one in New York. And the Hive Learning Network that Elizabeth mentioned is actually playing a huge part in the Maker Party this year too as well. So there'll be over 100,000 people at the Maker Fair in New York. Another kinds of activity that we use to continue to promote maker fairs right now, we are creating and working and partnering with different people. We're partnering with the After School Alliance, which makes a lot of sense given my background. They hold an annual event called Lights On After School on the 3rd Thursday of every year. October 23rd it is this year. And they usually have over 8,000 events where kids and educators are celebrating after school in museums, libraries, after school programs. And this year we're going to partner with them. And we're going to bring in the digital aspect of it and start teaching the after school community some of these skills as well. So one of the other tools that we are probably best known for at the moment are what Milton mentioned, digital badges. And one of the reasons we came up with badges is that, as you all know, there's no single institution can prepare somebody. It really is a collaboration and conglomeration of a lot of institutions in a community. And what badges does is that we recognize that there was a need to capture skills and characteristics and achievements that wasn't being captured by traditional assessments at all. And we thought that badges would be a great way to start capturing those 21st century skills, capturing those skills that kids and adults too were learning that weren't being assessed in any way. So we call these MicroCredentials. The teachers are calling them MicroCredentials. It's helping enhance their resumes. I think it's really the resume of the future in many ways. Now, what is a badge? It's basically a digital representation of these skills and achievements. It is, as Milton mentioned, it's scouting. So people think about scouting when it comes to badges. And I think the difference and the reason why people are excited about these badges is because of what's behind the badges, right? And so when you think about the badges that Mozilla has been working on, these are digital badges that can be shared across the digital space, but there's evidence behind it. So the fact that you can attach a video to show what it is that you've done, or you can attach a set of skills. If you peel back that pretty picture, this is the anatomy behind what a badge can be. And so the criteria and the data and the standards are really set by the content experts, and we help build the infrastructure for this. So who's using these badges? I think it's always a question that people have for us. And they are, ranging from after-school programs to schools to high schools. A lot of folks are interested in this in terms of career and workforce development, especially high school to post-secondary and college. As well as capturing in adults skills that they have mid-career. And so many adults are actually, we were surprised by this, very excited about the fact that they could capture skills that they were getting mid-career and share them. The example, if you could throw back up that slide, that I want to share with you, I think these are some of the most exciting badges I've seen. You all know the Smithsonian Institute, right? Probably a good friend of yours too as well. They have actually created some of the, I think, the richest content badges that I've seen of yet. And they have created them from a set of what they call quests. And they've taken the material and they have badges that are related to culture, music, and even marine biology. And one of the great examples, I think, is the environmental scientist one. They have this badge where their research department actually provides online courses. So they have scientists who are providing online courses to students and teachers, and understanding what it means, for example, for different species to invade waterways and the impact it has on their communities. And one of the quests that they have to complete is that the students need to go out and test their waterways and find out what the impact it's having on their communities and share that back with a public official in a meaningful way. And it's been so interesting in terms of how the Smithsonian has done this. They've based this on interest. So most of it is teachers who are bringing in their students and after-school providers, and the teachers actually give credit for the kids who were achieving this quest. And so they started this initiative in October, and now they have requests of over 200 badges a day through the Smithsonian. So they're actually expanding their system right now. Interestingly enough, the most popular badge is the astrophysicist badge that they have. And what it did was it unlocked these pathways and opportunities that kids and teachers had never even thought about. And so it got to a point in the set of quests that what they were doing online was actually not deep enough. So they brought in an astrophysicist and did some online courses with them. And the kids just really love this, and the teachers too. And how they assess the badges in the particular case, I thought was very clever. So the Smithsonian, what they did was they asked teachers of the year if they would assess the badges, and they taught them how to assess the badges. And so it gives it a credibility and value that it may not have otherwise. So having that third-party piece of it is important. The other one that I think Milton mentioned too as well is the Summer of Learning. So the Chicago Summer Learning started last year. It was Rahm Emanuel's attempt to stop the summer slide. And he thought being able to capture the learning that kids were doing throughout the city of Chicago would be a great way to do it, but also inspire and motivate them to participate in things that they may not have thought to do so, especially kids who were in one neighborhood and never participated in some of these things in other neighborhoods. So Mozilla partnered with MacArthur along with 100 organizations in Chicago and created a whole set of what they called STEAM badges. And it motivated these kids in a way that they did not think was going to happen, actually. They issued over 150,000 badges that year, or just that summer, and this was just a pilot. And through, at the end of it, they realized it should not just be the Summer of Learning, it should be the City of Learning. And then this launched some of the other City of Learning initiatives that some of you all may have heard about. Dallas just launched one this summer. Columbus is another place as well, and several other cities are doing it too. The data is still out in terms of what's happened after this initial summer, but I think we will learn more as that happens. Challenges of this. We're pretty nascent still with the badges. I think there are a lot of challenges that we still need to work through in terms of building the right sets of technology that allows for that interoperability. So people can build badges, but we want to make sure they're interoperable. The other piece of it that's become very, very clear is they need to be valued. And so finding the right set of assessments and picking the right badges makes a huge difference. And what we're also finding out is that high school kids in particular, they will claim the badges if they know someone else is looking at them as well. So I think that that's a good lesson learned in terms of that. Other resources, I just want to give you an example of some of the other things that Mozilla is building out. Right now they're working on prototyping App Maker. And this is basically about teaching everybody how to build app. I mean, Mozilla in many respects is they want everybody to be a developer and that everybody should have the skills. And so they realize that this is a billion-dollar business for a lot of folks, but that it's actually very simple to teach people how to build their own apps so they can make use of it in a particular community as well. So you could use it for civic engagement. Librarians could use it in terms of communicating with each other. Museum staff could do it too. And that's what we're prototyping right now. The other thing that they're prototyping right now is actually a very inexpensive smartphone with Firefox OS. And they're actually just launched this initiative in India, but these are basically $25 smartphones. So you can imagine the power of having a phone like this in your hand to be able to communicate and work across globally too as well. I think one of the things that when Milton showed his slide about the translator, some of the prototypes that I've seen at Mozilla is that someone right now is working on building out literally you can type in a question and it pops up in another language at the same time, so you can actually communicate with someone in real time. So you can imagine, again, the power of being able to do that globally. So this is what Mozilla is about. We're about building a better internet, and it's about putting the creative power of the web in more hands and more places, and we're all about building community. And that's very much of what, when Elizabeth mentioned the hives, those are our communities of practice, and we are growing hives actually across the world right now.